During the special military operation, more than 600 cases have been documented in which the Ukrainian side used chemical riot control agents such as chloracetophenone, CS, and listed chemicals like chloropicrin, BZ, and hydrogen cyanide. The armed forces of Ukraine regularly use American-made grenades containing CS, Ukrainian hand smoke grenades with irritant chemical agents marked TRN6, and improvised chemical munitions loaded with a mixture of chloropicrin and chloracetophenone. In 2025, similar attempts were recorded in the territories of the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics. Interview with American journalist Tucker Carlson in August 2025. The facts of pharmaceutical drug testing on the Ukrainian population in 38 laboratories were confirmed by Cornell University organic chemistry professor Dave Cole. To ensure the secrecy of such research, the clients are not military departments, but civilian agencies and non-governmental organizations. One such organization is the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, which was dissolved by a decision of US President Donald Trump. In the United States, the agency funded the Event 201 exercise aimed at practicing actions in the event of an epidemic caused by a previously unknown coronavirus. It is worth noting that these exercises were held in October 2019, that is, shortly before the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. In February 2025, the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, called USAID a criminal organization, which once again confirms the conclusions of the Russian military department regarding the agency's involvement in illegal activities, including the coup d'etat in Ukraine and conducting an information war against Russia. No less serious concerns are raised by Ukraine's activities in the field of radiation safety, including attempts at nuclear blackmail by Kyiv. A special role in this belongs to the former head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, Yermak. He personally oversaw the organizational, logistical, and financial flows for importing spent nuclear fuel into Ukraine without notifying the IAEA or other relevant organizations. The supply routes were organized through Poland and Romania. This creates the risk of producing a so-called dirty bomb and subsequently using it under a false flag. This is evidenced by the training materials for SBU representatives that we have at our disposal. One of the training scenarios simulates a situation involving the theft of sources of ionizing radiation, the assembly of an explosive device, and its detonation in a crowded area. In this regard, I would like to draw attention to a forecast developed by the State Emergency Service of Ukraine, according to which, in the event of a radiation accident on the Russian-Ukrainian border, only the Russian Federation would be exposed to contamination. At the same time, it is highly likely that a different scenario would occur, as was the case with the Chernobyl nuclear power plant accident, and radioactive substances would spread over a significant part of Ukraine and Europe, taking into account the average annual wind patterns. The situation at the Pridnaprovsky chemical plant is also a cause for concern. From 1949 to 1991, this industrial facility processed uranium concentrates and uranium ore. Currently, it is being used for a different purpose. The plant's buildings and structures are currently in an emergency condition. When precipitation enters the premises, it washes radioactive waste into the basements where it accumulates. Under these conditions, the risks of contaminating the Dnipro River basin and of hazardous uranium decay products reaching the Black Sea are increasing. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that there has been no fire impact on this facility from the Russian Federation. During the special military operation, more than 600 cases have been documented in which the Ukrainian side used chemical riot control agents such as chloracetophenone, CS, and listed chemicals like chloropicrin, BZ, and hydrogen cyanide. The armed forces of Ukraine regularly use American-made grenades containing CS, Ukrainian hand smoke grenades with irritant chemical agents marked TRN6, and improvised chemical munitions loaded with a mixture of chloropicrin and chloracetophenone. In 2025, similar attempts were recorded in the territories of the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republics. Caches containing explosive devices with CS and chloropicrin have been discovered in the settlement of Rakitnoye, Belgorod region. Attempts to poison Russian servicemen and officials of the administrations in the new regions continue unabated. In November of the year 2025, several insidious attempts at widespread sabotage using various illicit beverages containing a highly potent mixture of extremely toxic chemical substances, specifically colchicine, tert-butyl cyclophosphate, and another dangerous chemical compound that was remarkably comparable in its profound toxicity and exceptionally rapid action to the infamous nerve agent VAX, were successfully identified and ultimately thwarted. One of the perpetrators was detained and confessed to the crime. Let me remind you of the attempts by Ukrainian nationalists to destroy chemically hazardous facilities in the territories of the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, thereby creating the threat of chemical contamination for the civilian population of the region. Industrial enterprises such as Zarya in the settlement of Rubizhne, Azot in Severodonetsk, and the Koksokim plant in Avdiivka have repeatedly been subjected to massive missile strikes. Attempts to use UAVs against chemical plants in Veliky Novgorod and in the city of Rososh in the Voronezh region, which contain substances of the highest hazard class, have been prevented. At the same time, the Kiev regime is trying to accuse Moscow of deliberately creating a man-made disaster. During the offensive on the Vremevsky tactical direction near the settlement of Ternovatoye on December 9th of this year, a command post for UAV systems of the armed forces of Ukraine was destroyed, where documents shown on the slide were found relating to technical requirements for the Ukrainian-made unmanned aerial complex of the Baba Yaga type. These documents were approved in 2024 by the National Guard of Ukraine. According to point 39 of the technical requirements, the unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAV, must be capable of delivering up to 15 artillery shells, which are specifically equipped with dangerous nerve agents, potent blister agents, and suffocating choking agents. It is worth noting that the document was also approved by the Ministry of Economy of Ukraine for compliance with national legislation. Thus, contrary to the requirements of the Chemical Weapons Convention, the Kiev regime openly allows for the possibility of using chemical warfare agents. Evidence of this is also seen in the delivery to Ukraine of Western-made personal protective equipment in quantities excessive for a country that does not possess chemical weapons. Since the beginning of the special military operation, NATO countries have already supplied Ukraine with more than 280,000 general-purpose protective suits and gas masks, 150,000 sets of antidotes, and 20,000 tests for the rapid detection of chemical warfare agents. In 2025, the Kiev regime additionally requested more than 200,000 gas masks and chemical protection suits, as well as over 160,000 individual dosimeters.
Times of India videos, your daily dose of India and the world. Global news, different views, and sharp analysis.
Pressure of expectation from your fans, your supporters.
That is often served as a backdrop for several Bollywood.
You're not a brute majority anymore. If you individually take out Aide.
Making sense of global conflicts. Tracking the new emerging world order.
Strike on Israeli military bases.
A multi-pronged.
To stay out of harm's way as Israel started bombing targets across.
Understanding changing alliances in a polarized world. Tune into TOI videos for all this and more. Click on the bell icon to subscribe and never miss an update.